Hey.
Alright y'all, so I think it's safe to say that this has been a pretty bizarre season from the Los Angeles Clippers so far. They started the season with a nice 3-2 record, made the big James Harden trade, continued to lose 5 straight games from then on, and since have now won 5 of their last 7 and are trending upwards. And so despite the fact that they are sitting at an 8-9 record currently, if you actually look at the stats and advanced stats, they all are pretty good, as they're currently 15th in offense and 5th in total defensive rating in the entire NBA. Now I think the main reason why this Clippers team continues to intrigue me is because they have just so much talent on this roster, but because of the entire history of the PG Kawhi era in the LA Clippers history, that people just don't trust this team to be a contender anymore. But to me, they probably were at their lowest point they'll be at this entire season after making the James Harden trade, and they were running that absolutely horrid starting lineup with Westbrook, Harden, Kawhi, PG, and Zubats. It was about time that Ty Lue made the change to switching Terrence Mann in for Russell Westbrook, because since then, that starting lineup has been one of the best 5-man lineups in the entire NBA. And perhaps the most surprising thing to this point in the season is that both Kawhi and Paul George have played in every single game for the Clippers so far. They both are 17 for 17, and I don't think anyone had that on their bingo cards to start this NBA season. I know for a fact that I remember a time this preseason when the NBA announced their new load management rules with the sitting and all that, all-stars and all that good stuff. And when that news broke, a bunch of the speculation turned to Kawhi, PG, and the Clippers because they have grown a reputation of resting for a lot of games, but they're probably doing the best in terms of teams and their star players so far. Which again just also enforces the weirdness that they're only 8-9 to this point, because in past years it's usually the Clippers lose a bunch of games when Kawhi and PG are out, but again they've been healthy and played every single game, and yet they still have a average record right now. Either way, again, I do expect this team to just continue to get stronger as the season goes on. I do like the fact that this is just a team full of veteran star players who all have the common goal of just trying to win a championship. Obviously, Kawhi already has 2 in previous locations, but for guys like Paul George, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook, they're all still looking for number 1, so that has to be a huge motivator for them. And the fact that they have Kawhi leading them and still being probably the best player on this team, it seems like it's a good recipe for success. Yet again, this is, I feel like, the 4th year in a row that we have been saying this for the Los Angeles Clippers, so again, I think that it's a testament to the fact that people just are choosing not to believe in this team because they've been burned by them so many times before. I'm pretty sure even I said in my preseason predictions video that I am done trusting the Clippers until they actually show me something legit. And I'm still on that board. I've yet to still see something legit from them. Again, they're a really good team, but I'm expecting injuries to come at some point, and we'll see when we get there. But now to get into the reason why most of you probably clicked on this video, it's Kawhi Leonard. He continues to be an absolute monster, and his ability to take over games at the age of 32, which isn't that old in NBA terms, but for Kawhi Leonard feels ancient. He is one star player that I just feel like people are constantly writing off for some reason. I know he got off to a slow start this season, but it's been kind of a trend recently, especially with all of the injuries in recent years, that he typically gets off to a pretty slow start, and then as the season goes on, you'll take a random month like January and you'll be like, oh wow, Kawhi averaged 37-6 for the whole month of January. He's back to peak form. And it seems like, because he hasn't had to deal with the injuries this season, that we might be hitting that point sooner rather than later, because this game against the Sacramento Kings was a textbook Kawhi Leonard performance. He had 34 points on just 18 shot attempts, only 6 free throw attempts as well, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and his massive hands were just all over this game. I think my favorite thing about good Kawhi Leonard games is that the offense just is completely run through him, and he loves to play at his own pace. Clippers are doing a great job of getting him good looks in the post. This Clippers offense in general, again, they're 15th in terms of offensive rating right now, and I've been saying this, I expect them to get better because they just have so many players who can run simple actions that demand them to be double teamed. Like I said, in this game, the Clippers ran a ton of post-ups for Kawhi, and they ran some for PG as well, and pretty much anytime one of those guys gets the ball in the post, the defense is either going to have to send a double team to get the ball out of their hands, or they're just going to have to live with the fact that they can ISO and get a really good shot off in one-on-one. And when it came to Kawhi in this game, it was textbook. He made it look so easy. Every time that the Kings sent a double team, it was a really easy kick out, usually the James Harden for a wide open three. Or if the Kings did not send a second defender, then Kawhi would just take his matchup one-on-one and get an easy bucket. I also just continue to love the rim pressure that Kawhi is able to bring to the court into this offense. It's something that I don't think is brought up nearly enough with him, because he's so unique in the way that he drives to the rim. He usually goes at it very methodically and slow, and he's easily one of the strongest players in the league. He had this one play where he just bullied Trey Lyles, who, Trey Lyles is not a small guy. Kawhi Leonard just eviscerated him out of his way to get to the layup. And although he's not the same defender that he once was when he was, in DPOY talks and making all defensive teams, he is still a very, very good defender that can force offensive players to make mistakes or just force bad shots. Again, he shouldn't be on all defensive teams at this point. He's still not a guy that you can attack on that side of the court if you're the other team offensively. And I already talked about how the Kawhi and PG post-ups are a really simple action that can create good offense for the Clippers, but the addition of James Harden has added a whole nother facet to this offense that just makes it that much more difficult. Because as much as you want to complain about James Harden being washed or being a foul hunter or anything like that, he's a great basketball player still. He is one of the best playmakers that the NBA currently has. And when you have someone like Ivica Zubac, who is a really good screener and can just set high ball screen after high ball screen, possession after possession, James Harden is going to get good lanes to the rim. The Kings in this one were just doubling him out of a lot of those screens. But because of the high ball screen, you're essentially doubling James Harden at half court. He's very rarely going to make a mistake in those situations, and it's usually just an easy pass to the roll man, which then leads to a 4-on-3. And at that point, you usually have Kawhi spaced, you have Paul George spaced, you have Terrence Mann in the dunker spot, or maybe Terrence Mann is even running the pick and roll. And another thing that I love about this Clippers offense is their spacing is always so beautiful. They're just in the perfect spots every time they run an action, and it just makes them getting open threes that much easier. And to add another point to why I think this offensive rating will continue to climb as the season goes on, is that as long as the Clippers are healthy, they will have at least one of Harden, Kawhi, or PG on the court at times, or they'll have two of them on the court. And again, it just makes offense that much easier for each other when they are playing together. And a big reason why this is able to work is because these are all extremely unselfish players. Even Norm Powell off the bench, he is easily a starter level talent, someone that has gone off for 30 points on multiple occasions for this Clippers team during this tenure. But each one of these great scorers also understand that if they're not hitting shots, then it's just not their night. It's the big reason why we'll see Kawhi go off for 34 in this game, and then maybe the next game he'll only take 10 shots and score like 12 points. Or why Paul George, even though people love to meme on him when he only has like a 10-point night, sometimes the shot just isn't falling. And instead of forcing bad shots, he's going to let his tons of other talented scorers on this team take their shots and go score their points. So although he does have some bad games, and everyone has a bad night occasionally, these are all unselfish, veteran star scorers that just want to win basketball games at the end of the day. Now to wrap this video up, the one piece on this team that really intrigues me is Bones Hyland, because I mean, he's been really solid when he has been on the court, but because of the fact that they now have Harden, Westbrook, Paul George, Norm Powell, there's just not a lot of available playing time for Hyland unless someone gets hurt. And while I can certainly see the Clippers holding on to Bones Hyland just for that reason, because health has always been an issue for the Clippers, I would be very interested to see if they dangle him in some trades to go get another big man or just some sort of help in the front court, because as much as I love Daniel Tice, he's no Mason Plumlee, and the difference between Tice and Zubac is just more insane than people think. On a quick side note, Zubac is an amazing player. He's one of those centers where he'll be matched up with an all-star level guy and just completely dominate them, and I don't feel like people talk about that nearly enough. It was especially evident in this game where he just completely outplayed Domantas Sabonis. But back to my original point, again, I wouldn't be surprised if Hyland gets traded for front court help, especially since Hyland pretty much forced his way off of Denver because he wasn't getting minutes. So to be in this Clippers team where he's now also not getting minutes, like, he's a good enough player where he should be getting minutes, so that'll be something to monitor as the season goes on. But yeah, that's all I got for this one, really. The Clippers, I'm gonna keep my eyes on them because like I said, I still don't trust them. They're a good team. I think they'll continue to be better and win more games, and they'll probably end up being a top 6 seed playoff team and avoid the play-in. But at the same time, it's just been weird. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all those good things, and I'll catch you on the next one.